Paul Anthony Pierce, an NBA champion and one of the great Celtics of basketball history. A couple years ago, in a statement that probably still haunts him to this day, Pierce said that he was a better player than Dwayne Wade, and most of the basketball community roasted him for it. But is it really as ridiculous as it sounds? Paul has been known to make a lot of bold claims in his time as an analyst, and in my opinion, this one was far from the craziest. Today, we're taking a look at the career, talent, and legacy of the Boston Celtics legend, and we'll start as we always do, by taking it back to the beginning of his career. Pierce was selected with the 10th overall pick in the 1998 NBA draft by the Boston Celtics. The 6'7" small forward didn't waste any time making his imprint on the league. He wasn't the most athletically gifted player, but he had many skills on offense. As he was an elite perimeter shooter, he was a good finisher around the rim, and he had a solid step-back jumper in the days where most players weren't using it. In his rookie season, he averaged 16.5 points, 6.4 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 1.7 steals on 43.9% shooting. He also shot 41.2% from three-point range, which was the 11th best efficiency in the entire league. This season-long performance earned him a spot on the NBA's All-Rookie team. Boston was a very young and inexperienced team at this point, so they only finished with a 19-31 record in that lockout-shortened season. But their fortunes would soon turn around, right around the same time that Pierce would break out as a legitimate superstar. But not before he would experience one of the worst evenings of his life that would derail many individuals. On September 25th of the year 2000, at a Boston nightclub, 3 stupid and jealous individuals stabbed Paul Pierce 11 times in his face, his neck, and his back, and left him to die in a pool of his own blood. Fortunately, his teammate Tony Battie put Pierce in his car and rushed him to the hospital. The doctors were able to save Paul's life, but he had to have surgery to repair his collapsed lung. One of the stab wounds was just an inch away from hitting Paul's heart. Everyone would understand Paul needing a significant amount of time to recover, not just physically, but even mentally, as Paul dealt with ongoing PTSD from that evening. Despite the healing process and that traumatic experience, Pierce was still ready at the start of the NBA regular season just roughly a month later. Not only that, but he played all 82 games in that season, proving himself to be one of the toughest players the league has ever seen. One of the signature performances from that season came on March 13, 2001, against the defending champion Lakers in Staples Center. He was pretty much unstoppable, scoring in a variety of ways regardless of who was defending him. He put up 42 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 steals on 68.4% shooting. After the game, Lakers center Shaquille O'Neal was asked in an interview about Pierce's performance, and Shaq said, "Write this down. Paul Pierce is the mother effing truth." Since that day, Pierce's most iconic nickname has simply been The Truth. The following season, Pierce would lead his Celtics to their first playoff berth in nearly a decade, and he did it with monstrous numbers of 26.1 points, 6.9 rebounds, 3.2 assists, and 1.9 steals on 44.2% shooting. He was third in the league in overall three-point attempts, and yet he still shot 40.4% from that distance. He also led the entire league in total points that season. The tandem of Pierce and Antoine Walker led the Celtics to a 49-33 record, and they made it through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs before losing to the New Jersey Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals in 6 games. This is the closest Pierce would get to the NBA Finals before the Boston Big Three assembled later in his career. With that being said, this period was actually the strongest point of his career from an individual standpoint. After a disappointing 06-07 campaign in which he dealt with injuries, Boston shook the basketball world by trading for both Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. Naturally, all 3 superstars including Pierce took a step back in terms of individual production, but it was worth it for the overall team success that they were experiencing. The Celtics went from being a 24-win team in 2007 to a 66-win team in 2008, which was the greatest team improvement in NBA history. Pierce led his entire team in scoring and was once again named an All-Star. As most of you know, he led the Celtics to win the NBA championship over the Lakers in 6 games, and he was named the Finals MVP with his iconic performance coming in Game 1 where he returned from injury to seal the victory for Boston. More on this performance in a bit. The Celtics only won 1 championship in the Big Three era, but if they had been healthy, there's a great chance they would have won as many as 3 championships, as Kevin Garnett's knee injury caused him to miss all of the 2009 playoffs, and Kendrick Perkins missed Game 7 in the NBA Finals in 2010. which was a game where his rebounding and his help with interior defense may have been a determining factor. Regardless, throughout his Celtics days, and even into his days with Brooklyn and Washington, Pierce remained one of the most reliable and clutch shooters that the league had to offer. He finished out his career in 2017 as a member of the Los Angeles Clippers. Looking at his career as a whole, Pierce was a 10-time All-Star, he made 4 All-NBA teams, he's an NBA champion, and was the 2008 Finals MVP. I really think Pierce was a lot better than most people realize, and a big part of that is because his prime years came before the Big Three Celtics were formed. So many people are either too young to have seen his early years in Boston, or they just weren't paying attention at that point. His self-comparison to Dwayne Wade is a losing one in my opinion. Pierce does have a point that Wade had a lot more help to win his championships, and the help came a little too late for Pierce to win as many championships as he could have. Wade certainly was the better defender, as he's one of the best shot-blocking guards in NBA history who made 3 all-defense teams, but Pierce was also a significantly better three-point shooter than Wade ever was, and they were comparable scorers throughout their careers. Again, I think the answer is clearly Wade, but the comparison certainly wasn't as bad as a lot of people make it seem. To be honest, I've never seen one player innocently do more damage to their legacy than Paul Pierce has done to his own in recent years. Calling himself better than Dwayne Wade immediately invited criticism, and then the fact that he confessed his injury in the 2008 Finals was really just a need for a bathroom break pretty much ruined the most iconic moment of his career. He later backtracked and said that he was joking, but unfortunately the damage to his legacy had already been done. Personally, I remember Paul Pierce as the truth, one of the most lethal scorers and dangerous shooters of his day. I remember him as the guy who didn't let 11 stab wounds stop him from playing out the NBA season and tearing up the rest of the league. Based on the perspective of the basketball community, he's extremely underrated. Based on Paul Pierce's view of himself in his own mind, he's extremely overrated. Let me know in the comments section where you rank Paul Pierce among the greatest Celtics in NBA history. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.